Hey, what's up guys? It's Marf and welcome back to another Forza Horizon 5 video. I know it's been a while, but today I have something special for you guys. I'm actually racing my real car in Forza. Now, if you didn't know, I posted a video a while ago doing a sort of like real life car reveal video because recently I actually got a real 2008 Audi TT. Now it is a base model, and I'll talk about how in Forza it's the RS, but I sort of changed it up. But before that, if you haven't already seen the car reveal video, I highly recommend you do. I'll put a link to it in the description down below. It's really a nice like cinematic style sort of video, and I put a lot of effort into it, and I thought it turned out quite nicely. So let me know if you guys thought that was quite cool. And also let me know if you have any ideas you'd like to see for me in terms of the car in real life. I'd like to start making videos with it. I think that'd be quite cool, going for drives, doing upgrades, that sort of thing. But yeah, let's talk about the Audi TT in Forza Horizon 5. So let's talk about downgrading the TT RS. Now that was quite an interesting experience because obviously the RS has a lot of differences between that and the base model, which is what I have. So the first and most biggest change that I had to make was engine swapping. So I took out the TTRS's stock engine, and luckily Forza lets you engine swap. So I put in a 4-cylinder that I turbocharged, which is actually exactly the same setup as I have. So I have a turbocharged 4-cylinder that develops about 210 horsepower, I believe. Now in Forza, whatever setup they're using makes around 300 horsepower if I remember correctly, so it's not an exact one-to-one, but it's pretty darn close, and I'm actually quite surprised at how similar it sounds. Although yes, it is a 4-cylinder, so there's not really much you can do in terms of tuning the sound. But anyway, that was the most major change that I made. Now in terms of the aesthetics, I did have to remove that fixed wing that the RS has. Unfortunately, in Forza, there isn't an option to just have the stock wing, which is like this really cool automatic spoiler that goes up and down once you hit 75 miles an hour, which I kind of like over the RS's fixed wing. I kind of like that smooth look you can get when it's down, and I like the fact that it's this, high-tech thing where it goes up automatically. Unfortunately, you can't do that in Forza, so I put on the smallest thing, which is this little lip thing, which, I mean, it looks decently close to what it is in real life, so I'm okay with that, I guess. Now, the other things that I did in terms of aesthetics was changing the front and rear bumpers. Now, in the front, there's an aftermarket part in the Forza customization shop that actually looks really darn similar to the base model TT, so I swapped out for that. Whereas in the back, I had to just like remove the RS type of thing. Unfortunately, there is no option to just have a single side exhaust, which is what I have, but the RS has, the dual exhaust on either side. So that is really the only thing that makes it obvious that this is an RS instead of course, the badging. But besides that, I managed to get really, really close to what my car is in real life. And it's quite eerie and also surreal to like be driving around this thing in a video game, and it's like, I have that thing. That thing is in real life. I can go like look at it and stuff. So it's really interesting, and because I can obviously drive the car in real life and then come back and drive it in Forza and sort of compare and contrast at different speeds and whatnot. So that's kind of like the most fun part about doing this thing. But yeah, after I made all those modifications, it was an A class, and then really I just messed around in the customization to just try and get it to 800 in A class, which I guess is the best rank. I didn't want to go to S1 or S2 because I knew I was just going to be outclassed, and I would have needed to add a different engine anyway. So yeah, in terms of aesthetics and engine, this is probably the closest I'm going to get to a base model TT out of any game that I am aware of that has a Mark II TT. I know the Asphalt 8 has the TTS, but I can't do any engine customization to that. But yeah, besides that, I think this is actually a pretty darn cool setup. Now, of course, I can buy multiple TTs, so I have one TT that I'm going to keep as like the closest I can to real life, which is this car, and then I'm going to have another TTRS, which of course I'm going to make matte orange and have that be as fast as I can make it, which I believe is rank 956 in S2 if I remember correctly. That's the other RS that I have. And what's really nice about Forza is they also have the Mark III TT. Now the RS is unfortunately only for car pass owners, but I do have the TTS, which is quite nice as well. So let's talk about actually using this thing in multiplayer. Now, unfortunately, if you want to be the best of the best, I wouldn't recommend using a Mark II TT RS. Whether or not you want to max it out or you want to bring it down to a more level playing field like I have in rank A, unfortunately, it's just not that great. And the biggest problem you'll notice throughout this video is the acceleration. So when I'm coming out of corners, you'll see people gain from behind, as well as at the start of the races, you'll see I start out quite far behind a lot of the other racers just because of the acceleration. Now, interestingly enough, I found that the handling of this car was actually not that bad. Now, that could be due to the fact that the stat is actually, not terrible. I think my stat is like 7.3 or something like that. Or it could also be to the fact that I was just playing against really bad people. I used the new custom race feature that they just added recently to season 6, I believe, and it's ironic because in terms of A class, they recently just disabled that because there was an exploit where people were using like S2 class cars in rank A for some reason, and that was just kind of destroying everybody. But luckily I got these races before that happened. But yeah, in terms of A class, I wouldn't recommend this car if you want to be the best of the best. Now, personally, of course, I think the TT is the most beautiful car ever made, so I'm going to use it regardless of if it's actually good or not. And you'll see throughout this video, I have 2 first place finishes and 1 second place finish, so I don't think I did that bad. I think really as long as you stick to the racing line and you take advantage of what I think is slightly higher than average handling, you can actually do really well with this car if you stay very consistent and you don't make many mistakes. And that's really the problem, is that acceleration means you can't make many mistakes at all. In one of these races, I hit the wall at the beginning of the race. Now, luckily, this was during a really curvy part in the race, so I used my handling advantage to get ahead again. But besides that, if you mess up once, you're kind of just done because it takes so long to get back up to a really decent speed. But beyond that sort of stuff, I had a really fun time because it's just kind of, like I mentioned earlier, a surreal experience to be driving this thing. And I've never had this sort of experience in a video game before, and so it was quite nice to do that in Forza Horizon 5. Yeah, beyond that, there really isn't much else to say. I had a fun time driving my actual car in Forza Horizon 5. Now, if you have any other games that you'd like to recommend that I can drive a Mark II TT, let me know in the comment section down below. I'd love to do that. And if you'd like to see anything else with the TT in real life, let me know as well. But of course, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video.